Shock Treatment the movie is rated PG, but Shock Treatment Minute is rated F for
face!
We're going to spend this time discussing the movie in gory detail, and along the way we'll talk about adult content and use adult language. Consider yourselves warned.
Welcome to Shock Treatment Minute, the only podcast where we discuss shock treatment in excruciating detail, 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Kelly.
And I'm your other host, Leandra.
And we have such a special minute for you tonight. It's minute 13 of shock treatment.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
It's unlucky, but I would say it's lucky for us because it is an amazing minute.
Yeah, I mean, it's unlucky for, well, I would say it's unlucky for Brad.
That's fair.
Perhaps lucky for Janet. I don't know. Well, tell us, Leandra, what happens in minute 13?
The first thing we see in this minute is Betty and Oliver hanging out over at Kirk's Corner coffee stand, looking, I wouldn't say shocked, but not at all happy about seeing Brad and Janet making their way to the stage. Kirk and Vance are behind the coffee stand, smiling in barely contained excitement. Helped by the slutty floor manager, Brad and Janet take their places on either side of Bert, with Brad on the left above the him sign and Janet on the right above the her sign. As with many scenes, we're seeing this from behind 2 video cameras and a monitor facing us. Bert says, face the cameras, while reaching out to touch Janet and then Brad, ensuring that they're following instructions. The slutty floor manager runs into place in front of them near the monitor. Bert continues, now introduce yourselves. And Brad and Janet, speaking at the same time, try to introduce themselves, which makes them both pause and kind of look at one another briefly, which makes the audience cheer, with one person even whistling. Bert wheezily laughs. The view becomes that of our mysterious smoking man from the introductory prologue, in silhouette watching at 12 screens of Janet saying, I'm Janet Majors, and this is my husband, Brad. While we hear the crowd cheer, the mystery man spins forward in his white wheelie chair to reveal that he is a dark-haired, pale man wearing a black suit jacket, white shirt, white tie, and a gigantic red flower as a boutonniere above a white pocket square. Zooming in further, you see that he has a scar on the right side of his face under his eye. As the screen continues to zoom in on this man, we hear Bert say, Hey Brad, we've been hearing some bad things about you, haven't we, Janet? At this, the view turns back to Kirk's corner, where Kirk stifles a laugh and looks at Vance, who is trying to keep it together. Betty and Oliver turn, and Oliver in particular looks very disappointed in Kirk's outburst. Oliver looks back, and we snap back to Bert when he repeats intensely, haven't we, Janet? Causing Janet to start a bit. Janet says, yes, he needs help, chuckling a little while smiling at the camera. Bert incredulously yells, help! And we see Brad's bewildered face in close-up, looking from Bert to the camera. Bert continues, let's face it, Janet. Brad's an emotional cripple, which makes him laugh. Janet's smile kind of fades and the audience guffaws, not unlike Kelly's favorite scene from 8 Crazy Nights. I forgot that I wrote that. I'm very funny. Brad, confused, decides to start laughing fakely too. Kirk's corner comes back on screen with Vance shushing Kirk. Oliver looks full-on disgusted and Betty looks confusedly at Oliver. Oliver mouths, what? And off-screen we hear Janet say, I know, it's just... And the view turns back to Bert as he cuts off Janet to say, it looks like rest home for this stupid old marriage, eh? And Janet gives a cautious smile. The audience is clapping and smiling and nodding. The rest and home arrow is shown, and the next view is Brad turning back toward the audience from looking at that arrow, looking a bit concerned. He bumps his mic, a thing that we've never done, not even once on this podcast.
No.
And he tries to stop the mic from moving further. Bert says, tell me, Janet, you watch Dentonville? And Janet says, yes, I've caught it once or twice. And Bert triumphantly declares, that's right, DTV's most popular hospital. And that's the end of the minute. Probably the end of the sentence, too.
Yes,
It's a great minute.
it is actually a great minute. We get our first look at a new show, Marriage Maze, which I'd like to talk about, and we can talk about it more when it concludes, but what even is this show? Is it literally just a game show where you win the honor of having your partner committed to an inpatient facility?
I mean, in as much as the healthcare crisis in America has gotten to a point where that would be the only way some people can afford it, I could see it.
That's unfortunately true. I mean, just in I mean, there's other prizes. There's, different things coming that we're going to see, many prizes, but how are these prizes being won? Well, I get we see one thing later, and it's hard to really say because obviously there is there is like foul play afoot here, and this is a they're kind of railroading them into Farley's plan. So maybe this isn't how the show normally works, but I'm just trying. So it's clearly a game show. It almost seems like we should have had Oscar on for these minutes because it honestly seems like it's based heavily on The Price is Right.
Unfortunately, he's dead, so
He is.
listeners, that's not completely true. He's not dead in real
No,
life, he's just dead in universe.
maybe.
Maybe, perhaps.
So that's just something to keep in mind as we continue to explore Marriage Maze. We'll do a like post mortem once the show actually concludes and we've seen all of it. But it's just this is of these shows we see, this one makes the least sense to me in terms of the content.
It almost feels like it's supposed to be the newlywed game to me, but only in so much as it's a newlywed couple. Or I guess that's another question. How long have Brad and Janet been married at this point?
Oh yeah, I mean we have no idea. And then I mean later Janet's parents get to play
Yeah,
and they've presumably been married for a while, but yeah, I don't know. And it's like a guess that I don't know. That was almost like Family Feud gameplay. I don't know. We're getting ahead of
yeah.
ourselves, but I mean, keeping in mind like what game shows would have been popular in the US at this time, Family Feud and Price is Right are two huge ones. Probably the two that were the biggest that match this at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So just something to think about.
I know I will.
I sure will. I can't help it. I wish I could. Another exciting thing about this minute, I believe this is our first Farley face reveal. And I did try and think of a word for reveal that starts with F, was not successful.
Farley frontal.
Yes! It is our first Farley frontal. I love that. But not the frontal I wish that I was getting from Cliff DeYoung.
Yeah, it would be a different movie entirely.
Yeah. The. Damn it. I'll workshop a porn name. It's not as easy as the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I think that it's right there with cock treatment.
Oh, fuck. I was about to say suck treatment, but yours is better.
Frontal and cock. I'm just on a roll here.
Uh,
Juilliard be damned.
but so I just wanted to shout that out. I love Farley so much, and this is we've obviously seen him. He's the first character we see, but only as a shadowy figure. We finally get to see, and theoretically, this is when you might notice that he is played by the same actor as Brad, except you wouldn't, because Cliff DeYoung is truly a chameleon who embodies these two characters so completely that it's very hard to tell.
I don't know that I even caught it. Well, obviously, I didn't catch it the first time because I didn't get very far into the movie, but I didn't catch it until the very end when I saw the credits the first time that I actually watched it the entire way through, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, but the first time I watched it, even like after the in-universe reveal, I didn't realize that it was the same actor, and I couldn't see it until people told me, and I started really squinting and noticing. So,
Same, although it makes sense because when we describe our podcast, we do say that it's two idiots discussing the movie in excruciating detail. We don't say two highly intelligent people with large boobs and or a fat ass.
yeah, I guess that's true. It's possible that I just think that it's a very good performance that is
I mean, same.
unclockable, and that like everyone listening is like, no, it's extremely obvious, but I don't think so.
Listeners, are we stupid? Are you stupid? Collectively,
Both.
are all of us stupid?
Yeah. Clifty Young, write in and tell us if we're stupid.
So, I want to talk a little bit about Oliver Wright in this. He, for this entire thing, and we only see him just kind of reacting incredulously to stuff. He's got his hip popped and he's got like one hand on his hip, just kind of jauntily giving sass. And it's so fun to see him having fun physically while his face is having a completely different moment.
On the topic of Judge Wright, Nell seems to agree that Judge Wright is Crim, because when she saw him in this minute, she said, having the narrator from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I love all the characters that are in both films, and Charles Gray is so good in both. So she seems to support my theory that it is the same character.
It really is just the more we look into it, the more this is just an extension of the criminologist. And
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So I'm not convinced that every single person who listens to our podcast is also like a RuPaul's Drag Race fan, but I will say that Oliver and Betty, like their face journey that they're going on, reminds me of there's this Alyssa Edwards clip where she's rewatching something from a recent Drag Race episode, and she says, "What the fuck is going on in here on this day?" And it very much delights me to see these two people just so clearly unhappy with what they're watching happen in front of them.
Absolutely.
And then I think I only have one more note, and that's that in this minute you get a good look at the audience member who looks a lot like OJ Simpson.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I have a note about a different audience member, at least I think it's a different audience member, because I noticed one who has another fucking insane giant perm, this time a blonde perm. So probably not the one you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't think that that's going to be OJ Simpson.
Probably not. I don't know.
uh, I would be shocked.
But that's one in the front row that we see, and I mean, it's actually insane. Do you know the audience member I'm talking about?
I do.
Do you
And
think that's their real hair? Her, I'm sure.
it can't be.
Yeah.
It can, like, of course it might be, but it's so big.
It
It's
would be
so big.
surprising to me if they would have allowed somebody who was in the audience for these shots to wear such a distracting wig, but maybe like me, they thought it was very fun, so who knows? If you were that audience member, please write in and let us know if you have cut your hair or stopped getting perms in the intervening oof, God, the intervening 40, 44 years, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. It's not
Oof.
50.
Yeah, no, it's not 50, and it hurts, so. Anyway, that was my last note.
All right, what callbacks do you have?
I'm so glad you asked, Leandra. I have no callbacks for this minute.
Really?
Really. I mean, it's very possible that I will remember one when you start talking, but
Well, I don't have any either.
that's not true.
You're right, it isn't.
Yeah.
I
I'm
just
looking
wanted you to feel like you were included. I don't know.
I'm looking at your notes, so
Oh, shit.
yeah.
Well, then in a way, you do have callbacks, don't you?
That's true. Yeah, I guess I'll just start one moment.
No, that's
Scroll,
okay.
scroll,
No,
scroll.
no, 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 no,
Okay,
no.
so
No, 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 no,
when
no.
Bert says
So
face
when
the
Bert
cameras, face the cameras, we just shouting
when
over
Bert
each other.
says face
Then
the
you can yell, "They
cameras,
are
you shout
blind man."
they are blind man. This is chaotic. I
No, I'm
really
stopping. I'm
uh,
stopping.
that was great for us.
Yeah.
So when Brad and Janet introduce themselves, the fun thing that you can do that's a really at this point a callback to Rocky is you shout collectively, like at the same time with your friend who's doing callbacks with you, asshole and slut. Because we don't really call Brad and Janet asshole and slut in this film, but it's a nice little way to pay homage just this once
Yeah.
to what we were doing.
Well, when you hear the whole name.
Yeah. And then when Janet says, I'm Janet Majors and this is my husband Brad, you can yell, I feel a disturbance in the force. And that's kind of lampshading the fact that this is not right. This is, these are not the Brad and Janet that we're expecting.
Oh, and I guess it's like a mirror of yet another line.
Yeah.
I'm Brad Majors and this is my fiance Janet Weiss.
And in a lot of ways, Janet just kind of has taken on the role of Brad in the relationship. It's like when I ask which one of us is the Kelly and which one of us is the Leandra in any given relationship. Like obviously
I'm the
I'm the
Kelly and
Kelly and you're the Leandra, but you know what I mean.
yeah.
Uh, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I'm just yeah, this is yet another example of a time where they've flipped. And man, I didn't realize how many times they do that, where they flip a Rocky line on Brad and Janet like that.
there are those who would say that that is sloppy script writing, and I disagree.
No, it's very intentional. Especially now
Yes,
that I'm noticing how many, like, we talked about way early on, minute 3, I think, where with the it's all right, Brad, everything's going to be all right, and it just keeps happening.
absolutely. So after Bert says, we've been hearing some bad things about you, haven't we, Janet? And the scene switches to Kirk's corner. You can either say who has a smoker's cough, or, and this is my preference, do you think Vance has confiscated any weed lately? Because Kirk laughs this incredibly like husky laugh, and Vance is stifling a laugh, and it seems a lot like they're high. I think that's the I think that's fun. But if you don't like weed, then it can just be a smoker's cough. And then you can say after Bert has asked, haven't we, Janet, a second time, how's Brad in bed? And then Janet, of course, says, he needs help. And then when Bert says help, you can shout, I've fallen and I can't reach my beer, which is itself a reference to Life Alert commercials where they say, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. But a popular riff on that is the help, I've fallen down and I can't reach my beer.
Very good.
And then let's face it, Janet, Brad's an emotional cripple, is the line in the movie. You can say, what's a creepo? And the response to that callback is, a hoe so ugly you have to creep up on her. And then you can have somebody run to the screen and pretend to tickle Brad, shouting tickle, 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 because Brad then laughs. And then this is fucking stupid. When Bert says, "For this stupid old marriage, eh?" you shout pig Latin. And then after Bert says, "Tell me, Janet, you watched Dentonville?" you shout, "Do you have herpes or crabs or perhaps mpox?" Janet responds, "Yes, I've caught it once or twice."
Very good.
And those right there are my notes, which reminds me of a question that I have for you.
Oh, okay.
Does this bird belong to you?
Maybe you'll see him again someday. Sometimes I can still hear his voice.
Sometimes I can still hear his gaping hole.
Yeah, I was about to say, sometimes I can still hear
Echo,
the wind
echo,
whistling through
echo.
his butthole.
This is all great stuff. We should keep this in.
No, we genuinely should keep this in.
Yeah. I smell a coda.
Anyway, sorry.
Sorry for what? Uh, no.
No, no. Unless.
No, 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 no. Huh? No.
Well, later.